Every summer, millions of homeowners pour thousands of liters of city water onto grass that was never meant to grow in their climate, and watch their water bill climb anyway, season after season, with no end in sight. But long before sprinkler systems and water meters, civilizations in the driest places on Earth built entire economies around a small group of plants. Plants that store water, find water, and in some cases, are still quietly making people rich today. Modern landscaping forgot them the moment city pipes made convenience cheaper than knowledge. We didn't. These are the 12 forgotten desert plants, and what they can still do for your land, your wallet, and your water bill. Here's the part nobody tells you. For most of human history, what you planted around your home wasn't decoration, it was infrastructure. A water tank, a drought alarm, sometimes even a business. Then municipal water arrived. Suddenly nobody needed a plant that could survive 8 months without rain, because a tap did the job instead. The knowledge wasn't banned or hidden, it was just made irrelevant. Until now, with droughts, rising water rates, and water restrictions creeping back into more states every year. So we went back through agricultural records, desert survival manuals, and botanical archives to bring back the 12 plants that mattered most, and we ranked them by how much value they can still put back in your pocket. Number 12, rosemary. Rosemary has survived in bone-dry Mediterranean soil for thousands of years, needing almost no irrigation once established. Ancient farmers planted it along terrace walls, not just for the kitchen, but because its roots held loose, rocky soil together during the rare heavy rains. Modern Xeriscaping, landscaping designed to cut water use, leans on it constantly, because a single established rosemary bush can replace a patch of lawn that would otherwise need watering 3 times a week, and it will keep doing that job for decades with almost no attention. Number 11, lavender. Lavender works the same way rosemary does, but it does something rosemary can't. It sells. Entire regions of southern France built their tourism economy around lavender fields that need nothing more than the rain that falls naturally each year. Lavender oil, dried bundles, and lavender farm tourism have turned small plots of wasted dry land into legitimate side businesses, especially in regions where water restrictions make a traditional lawn-based garden a losing bet. Number 10. Sedum, also known as Stonecrop. Sedum stores water directly in its leaves. That is why it survives weeks without rain, and why it was used on traditional turf roofs in Scandinavia centuries before green roofs became an architectural buzzword. Builders have caught on. Sedum is now one of the most common plants used on modern green roofs, because it needs almost no irrigation and reduces a building's water and energy costs at the same time, all while weighing far less than traditional soil-based roofing gardens. Number 9. Welwitschia Mirabilis. This one looks almost prehistoric because it nearly is. Welwitschia survives in the Namib Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, sometimes going over a year without measurable rain, and it does this largely by absorbing moisture from coastal fog through its leaves. It only ever grows 2 leaves in its entire life, which simply split and frizzle over the centuries. Some specimens are estimated to be over 1,000 years old, and on rainfall alone, they should not have survived a decade. Number 8. The date palm. Date palms do not just tolerate drought, they are used to find water. Their roots can reach groundwater dozens of meters down, which is exactly why ancient caravans navigated by them. Where date palms grew, there was a water table close enough to dig for, and entire trade routes across the Sahara were mapped around the oases they marked. Today, date production is still a multi-billion-dollar global industry, built almost entirely on a tree that needs flooding only a few times a year and can keep bearing fruit for over a century. Number 7. Willow. Willows are what 19th century homesteaders called a water witness. Where a willow grew tall and healthy on otherwise dry land, settlers knew groundwater was shallow enough to dig a well. It's not magic. Willow roots chased the water table directly, and that turned a tree into a free water prospecting tool. The same bark that signaled water underneath was also chewed by some of those settlers for pain relief, centuries before that compound was isolated and became modern aspirin. Number 6. Cottonwood. Same principle as the willow, different region. In the American West, a cottonwood standing alone in dry grassland was treated as a landmark because it almost always meant a hidden spring or shallow aquifer underneath. Ranchers built homesteads near them for exactly that reason, and old wagon trail diaries describe travelers steering days off course just to follow a line of cottonwoods toward water. Number 5. Mesquite. Mesquite roots have been recorded reaching over 50 meters underground in search of water, among the deepest of any tree on the planet. That is exactly why it survives droughts that wipe out shallow-rooted crops entirely. That same toughness made its pods a survival food for desert communities for centuries, ground into a sweet, protein-rich flour during years when little else would grow. Today, mesquite flour and mesquite smoke products are a small but growing niche market for anyone willing to grow what most people still call a weed. Number 4. Prickly pear, also known as nopal. Prickly pear stores water in its paddles, which is why it can sit through months of drought without irrigation. It is also one of the few forgotten plants that already made the jump to mainstream commerce. In fact, it appears on the Mexican flag as a symbol of survival on harsh land, and nopal is sold as a vegetable across Latin America and increasingly in US grocery stores, turning a plant most people pull out of their yard into an actual cash crop. Number 3. Agave americana. Agave can take 6 to 8 years to mature, surviving almost entirely on rainfall the whole time. At the end of that period, a single plant is worth real money. The tequila and mezcal industries are built on agave fields, and those fields need a fraction of the irrigation that row crops do. That is exactly why agave farming has expanded into regions where row crops can no longer be grown affordably, with some growers now treating a mature field the way others treat a long-term investment portfolio. Number 2. The saguaro cactus. A mature saguaro can store close to a ton of water inside its trunk, expanding like an accordion after rain, and slowly using that reserve through the dry months that follow. It can take over 70 years before a saguaro grows its first arm, which is part of why it is protected by law in parts of the Southwest, precisely because of how valuable and how slow-growing that water-storing trunk really is. And number 1, the barrel cactus. We're putting this one at the top for a reason. The barrel cactus has been documented by desert survival experts as an emergency water source. Its pulp holds drinkable moisture that can be extracted in a genuine survival situation, which is why it earned the nickname compass cactus among some desert travelers who used its lean toward the sun for navigation. It's slow-growing, low maintenance, and in xeriscaped properties, mature specimens are increasingly sold as landscaping centerpieces for hundreds of dollars each. None of these plants are secret. You can buy most of them at a garden center this weekend. What's forgotten isn't the plant, it's the habit of choosing your landscaping based on what your climate can actually support, instead of what a sprinkler can force into existence. Swap even a third of a water-hungry lawn for plants like these, and most homeowners in dry climates see a measurable drop in their water bill within the first season. In regions tightening water restrictions, this is not a hobby anymore. It is basic financial planning, and the kind of planning that compounds the longer you leave it in place. 12 plants, thousands of years of USA. One simple idea modern landscaping left behind. If you want more information on how to put any of these plants to work on your own land, that's exactly what this channel is here for. Subscribe, and drop a comment with which one of these 12 you're planting first. Until then, stay self-reliant.